Hey, good morning, scholars. Happy Tuesday. I hope your new week is off to a fantastic start. Bringing you some news and information today. Got a leadership lesson for you. It's going to be another great week at Allen J. So thanks for dialing in this morning. Hey, just a couple of things to be aware of. We do have some things that are going on this week. I'm going to call out some birthdays here in just a moment so we can celebrate some scholars. We have a virtual parent meeting. That meeting is actually today at noon, and we're encouraging all of our parents that have scholars returning to school or remaining remote to get into that meeting. So that link has been shared with your parents, and I hope they'll take an opportunity to get in. If they miss it, the meeting will be recorded and it'll be on our website. Don't forget, 8th grade high school magnet options are currently open. So you need to be thinking about what schools you are interested in. We've had some scholars make some big decisions in recent days and announce what schools they'll be participating in and where they're taking their talents. We're certainly very proud of them. If you need any help with the high school magnet options, please reach out to Counselor Barham. And last but not least, last week we had an announcement that Allen J. Prep, along with all of Guilford County middle schools, are scheduled to reopen. We're going to have some 6th graders joining us here next Monday, so we're excited about that. 7th and 8th grade in the weeks that follow. All right, let's look at some birthdays for this week. Let's see, it's today. Tierra Calhoun and Ryan Donahue both have birthdays today, so happy birthday, guys. Also, Ariana Burgess and Tess Lingle have birthdays on Thursday of this week. Jade Mackey has a birthday on Friday. Brooklyn McBee is on Saturday, and Abby Belcher and Aaron Sauls both have birthdays on Sunday. So happy birthday to those scholars. All right, guys, our theme for this year has been finding the superhero within, and we began the year by talking about all the cool superhero characteristics that we can learn and how we can become better leaders by learning from characters like Black Panther and Batman and Spider-Man and Wonder Woman and all those individuals. So I hope you've remembered those lessons and have grown as a result. We shifted in January, keeping the theme of finding the superhero within, but I am really interested in helping you learn and grow by highlighting some American heroes. So we've highlighted some American heroes in recent weeks. I hope you remember some of these names and faces. There's Jennifer King, the first African-American female coach in the NFL. You know about the Hammer up there. There's the Greensboro Four. Just lots of individuals that you can learn from, right? So this week, I'm going to use a collection of individuals, and I'm actually going to use a city and a university to help you learn about leadership. And it's a little town called Tuskegee, Alabama. So maybe you've heard of Tuskegee before. Maybe you've got some connection or something pops in your mind when you hear the term Tuskegee. But I want you to really understand the significance of Tuskegee. And so I've entitled this lesson, Lead Like Tuskegee. So let me tell you a little story. So in 1881, the Tuskegee Institute opened as a school for African American students. This is after the Civil War, and it's providing an educational opportunity for African American students that live in Alabama. Okay? The school has a tremendous history, but it's grounded in the leadership of several key individuals. And basically, these individuals dedicated their entire lives to helping others obtain a quality education. And so we're going to learn about some of those individuals today. Thinking about Tuskegee, this is a history class in 1903. And you can see these individuals, they're dressed very nicely. They're sitting on long school benches. There is a chalkboard. You notice there's no laptops, right? There's not really even a whole lot of textbooks. Most of the instruction was direct face-to-face coming from quality professors, individuals that had already gone to college themselves, that were researchers and scientists and highly respected individuals. And so it was always, if you had an opportunity to attend school, it was a great opportunity to get to learn from these individuals. Most students took classes in things like farming and construction and history and sciences and mathematics, but they also earned their tuition because it is a private institution. They earned their tuition by helping with the expansion and the construction of all the new buildings there on campus. So they would attend classes in mornings. A lot of them would help to build buildings in the afternoon. They grew their own food there on site, on campus. The Institute just has a remarkable individual who all of you know his name, but you may not realize he served his life, most of his life work here at Tuskegee Institute, he had a clear vision for educating and advancing opportunities for African Americans after the Civil War, and his leadership was so significant it drew in millions and millions of dollars of donations from people such as Andrew Carnegie, you've heard his name, or John D. Rockefeller. A lot of those guys are American businessmen who were extremely wealthy, and they saw the great work that the Institute was doing at the leadership of this individual. Most of you, I'm hoping all of you, know the name Booker T. Washington. In fact, if you went to Washington Elementary School in Greensboro, that's who that school was named after. It was named after Booker T. Washington. So you can learn a lot about him. I'm just going to hit the highlights for Booker T. Washington's legacy at Tuskegee Institute. He was 25 years old, guys. Now, he was born as a slave. He was freed after the Civil War. He had an opportunity to go to what is now Hampton College and later came back to teach there after he graduated. Washington was working at Hampton Institute at the time, now Hampton University, and he was recommended to be the principal of this brand new Tuskegee Institute that was opening up way back in like 1881. And he took the job. He was the teacher and he was the principal. And he was the new principal of the Tuskegee Institute. He was incredibly intelligent. He was incredibly well educated. He was a polished teacher and orator or professional speaker. He was so well recognized that he was actually an advisor to multiple presidents over like a 25-year span. And his leadership allowed the Tuskegee Institute to thrive and to grow. One of the best decisions he ever made was encouraging this individual to come and teach at Tuskegee. George Washington Carver spent 47 years at the Tuskegee Institute. He was a remarkably intelligent individual, also very humble, but he dedicated his entire life's work to basically teaching at Tuskegee. He lived there on campus. He's buried on campus. He was a remarkable individual. Another individual, you have to know his legacy, like the impact that he had on the Institute. He is known as the most renowned and prestigious African-American scientist of the 20th century. He did an incredible amount of work. And not just with peanuts. A lot of people think that most of his work was basically in botany and working with flowers and developing uses for the peanut. That was a lot of his work. But man, he did so many things. So look him up and learn a little bit more from George Washington Carver, if you will. Another really cool story that you might recognize, you might have heard of the Tuskegee Airmen before. So prior to World War II, there was we didn't have the U.S. Air Force. We had the U.S. Army and Air Corps, and African Americans were not allowed to serve as pilots in the AAC. However, through Booker T. Washington's leadership, through George Washington Carver's leadership, and another individual I'm going to tell you about in just a moment, Dr. Patterson, they created an opportunity called the Tuskegee Institute for Airmen that allowed African Americans from all over the United States to come to the campus of Tuskegee and to train to be pilots. And they served hundreds of missions in World War II. They earned great recognition for their tremendous skill. They were often referred to as red tails because the planes that they flew had red marking on the back tail, but they basically paved the way for other African Americans to be able to enlist in the U.S. Air Force as pilots. So another really cool example of leadership at Tuskegee. So here's the guy I really want to spend some time with for just a moment. And you don't know him. I'm almost certain you have never heard of this individual. But Dr. Fredrick Patterson was born in 1901, and he was named after Frederick Douglass, who you may know as an anti-slavery leader and a great speaker and writer. He lost both of his parents when he was only 2 years old. He was raised by his sister. She taught him to read and write. He went on to attend college at Iowa State University, got his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine, also had a master's of science degree. He served as a teacher and then later president at Tuskegee from 1935 to 1953. Man, think about that term of leadership. And under his leadership, the Institute developed into a nationally recognized program for veterinary science. It is growing as one of the strongest and most highly acclaimed HBCUs, which is historically black colleges and universities in America. And while he's there, he also establishes something called the UNCF, the United Negro College Fund. And you've probably seen this advertisement before. It says, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." Well, that organization still exists today. It's raised over $4 billion to help serve HBCUs and students hoping to attend one of those HBCUs. And so just want to be sure that you're aware of like the legacy of these leaders and their connection to a little town called Tuskegee, Alabama. But Dr. Fredrick Patterson was a remarkable leader. And because of his creation of this organization, we're actually running a campaign at school this week with our staff, encouraging them to donate to the UNCF because we, as a school district, Guilford County Schools, are supporting the UNCF. So I'm happy to support that campaign. I just wanted you to know about Dr. Patterson, man. What a leader. So today, this is what the campus looks like. It's no longer called Tuskegee Institute. Instead, it is called Tuskegee University. And that's because it has grown at such a tremendous rate that the overall population of the students and staff that are there takes it to university level status. So I just want you to watch a quick little not really history, but just like what to know about Tuskegee University. I think you'll enjoy this.
Tuskegee University is the second oldest historically black college in Alabama and one of the largest in the United States. Founded in 1881 as the normal school for colored teachers at Tuskegee, the school quickly became a driving force in the developing industrial education movement under the leadership of noted educator Booker T. Washington, its first president. In its early decades, Tuskegee Institute made significant contributions to agriculture and improving the lives of rural black farmers. Tuskegee has played an integral role in Alabama history and education. It pioneered the movable school, served as the training ground for the Tuskegee Airmen, and students and faculty were heavily involved in the civil rights movement. In addition to its many notable alumni and academic developments, it was the first HBCU to have a marching band. Tuskegee University was recently ranked as the top black college in Alabama and the 6th nationally.
Man, that's cool. Just a little bit more about the university in just a quick moment. So our quote as we close out today does come from George Washington Carver. I told you he was a humble guy. He says, when you do common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world. So common things like going to school, reading and writing, participating in activities, athletics, those are common things. But when you do them in an uncommon way, with passion, with energy, with leadership, you're going to command the attention of the world. I hope you can learn a little bit from the lesson Lead Like Tuskegee. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of that history lesson and get to know some of those individuals. There is a famous and prominent African-American who was born in Tuskegee, and her picture hangs in Leadership Lane, none other than Miss Rosa Parks, born in Tuskegee, Alabama. All right, let's see who won the house competition for this past week. There were a lot of points given out. Looks like the leading house has over 1,800 points for the week. It is Nike House. Congratulations to Nike. Everybody else is pretty close. Hegemon's in second, only 2 points behind that. Dynamis and Sabio had a strong week as well. There's a picture of Miss Parks sitting on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Hey guys, here's the creed. Hope you'll take an opportunity just to reflect on it this morning. On a mission is what we're talking about. We are on a mission to elevate ourselves, but to also help people in our community and all of humanity. I hope you guys have a fantastic week and keep doing great things. Lead like Tuskegee. Take care, guys.